Hey, before we start today's show, I want to remind you, the Ultimate Draft Kit for 2018 is now available at ultimatedraftkit.com. We're talking premium position ranks, plus the top 200, 100-plus player profile videos to get ready for your fantasy football draft. We've got 2018 sleepers, breakouts, busts, and values, tons of stuff, including Matt Harmon from NFL.com's Reception Perception, tier breakdowns, auction values. Look, this is the key to winning your fantasy football draft in 2018, and you can get in on it right now at the lowest possible price at ultimatedraftkit.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome into the show. Once again, the Fantasy Footballers Podcast climbing through your airwaves, inching its way closer to your brainstem like a centipede. Oh.
What? Am I unaware of what centipedes do?
They climb in through
climb
your ears
to your brainstem?
and they nestle.
I could have gone with earwig.
They nestle into your brainstem. My son saw a very small millipede this morning.
Did you tell him to stay away?
And he lost his mind. I mean, he just started crying. We tried to reinforce the fact that he could run, take a nap, and then get up, and the thing still wouldn't be close to him. But bugs are scary, Mike.
Well, but I mean, those, you may not realize this, but they're dangerous.
What?
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about they're dangerous.
See, that's what I grew up thinking, but then I think I Googled it, and that's not true.
Well, as far as I know,
A millipede is dangerous?
I know a centipede has a very poisonous bite.
Right. That's not the same thing as a millipede.
Yeah, well, look, you go centa to milla, you're talking, you just extrapolate out the pain, right?
Oh, I guess so.
Pain per leg is very high on the millipede.
Millipedes are not poisonous.
But
for the
centipedes are?
I know it's millipedes are
Dang.
not.
Well, then just tell him to smash it with his foot.
I took care of it, Mike. Welcome to the podcast, Andy, Mike, and Jason. You can find us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. Make sure you follow us over on Instagram. We're going to be posting a lot more fantasy football stats, news, information. You can follow some behind the scenes over at on our Instagram. What else is going on? You can check out our website, thefantasyfootballers.com. You're going to start seeing more and more content pop up on the website for 2018, including we're inching our way towards the NFL draft and some of the rookie evaluations, including the reception perception content you know and love.
Oh, it's hot. Oh, you know it and you love it. But this year, people, 2018, get ready to have your eyes dazzled with some of the upgrades to reception perception.
Took him to a special Beverly Hills doctor.
Right, got a little upgrade.
Got a little shine job.
I'm not joking when I say the Ultimate Draft Kit is going to be great for 2018. We put our heart and soul into this. This is our banner product of the entire year, so we're super proud of it. We're super excited to improve it and make it even better. But the price stays the same, gentlemen. The price is the same. UltimateDraftKit.com.
For now.
You can pre-order it right now. And let's get into this quick question. I think it's a really interesting one. It comes from Macho Fred Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you should read the whole thing, Mike.
Okay, I got to go back to the tab. What top-tier player is most likely to fall out of their respective tier? Ooh, like DeMarco did this year. Yeah.
All right.
Nice Savage stamina there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's hard to pull off. So what top tier player is falling out of that tier?
It's a great question. DeMarco last year he did that. He fell out of that beautiful RB1 tier, and
he did it both. He was a double killer here because he
statistically and visually.
Right.
You just
well, going into the draft, he had fallen out of kind of that top tier. He wasn't a top. He was like that next rung down. And then he finished even worse than that. So I take this question two ways, as in who was a top drafted guy who might fall out of the tier they were drafted in, or who's a guy that wherever they drafted in, who's in the top tier, is going to disappoint.
Well, to put it more simply, which millipede is going to become a centipede?
Oh, that's a great.
I verified centipedes. Their bites can be very painful.
Thank you, Mike.
The poison's gone. Now it's just a painful bite.
Well, because they have venom.
Well, that would make it worse.
I'm going to answer the question with two names: Tom Brady and Jordy Nelson.
Oh my!
You're going old.
At some point in time, Tom Brady is going to.
Tom Brady eats centipedes. That's how
he's
he
part of the
stays
TB12 diet.
sprightly.
Look, Drew Brees did this last year as well. I mean, if you look at the numbers, Drew Brees went from being that perennial top 3 guy, top 5 guy to barely finishing as a QB1. I think that can happen to Brady. I would put Jordy Nelson in there as a consideration as well. Jordy's value is just locked up and chained up with being with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
And so if anything changes in that equation, Mike, you talked about the possibility of Jordy getting the axe, being cut.
Yes.
I think it'll be Randall Cobb. But his age, his decline over the last half of the season, even though it was attributed to having no Rodgers, those are my 2 candidates for teardrops.
Yeah, so mine, I think Mike Evans is going to drop a tier as far as draft stock. Where he went last year, and we kind of were saying is probably too high for where he's going. I think he will, a lot of people are leapfrogging him this year. But the guy that I think is going to take that step backwards, a la DeMarco Murray, is LaShawn McCoy. I mean, I think Buffalo has a lot of change coming their way. Tyrod Taylor, we don't know if he'll be back, but if he's gone, Shady another year older, a ton of work as far as volume. Now, we didn't see him lose a step last year.
Did have his career low in yards per carry.
Yeah, right.
But Mike Clay tweeted out about this, that this was the lowest percentage of runs out of the shotgun in 5 years for Shady McCoy.
Yep.
Because McDermott
83% when he was under Chip Kelly, 17% last year.
Because the coaching staff, including Rick Dennison, who no longer works there, were clearly too arrogant to make the system fit their players. Instead, they're just trying to say, no, our system's the best. So we'll see what happens moving next year. Because Shady dominates out of the shotgun.
And I don't think they're going to be moving that. Nothing we saw last year said, hey, we're going to move to the shotgun. So I think Shady will start to sunset in 2018.
Oh.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's Jarvis Landry. His touchdown rate was just too high. So it's the number 6 overall wide receiver in half point last year. Moving teams as I expect him to do. The receptions will still be there, but I don't see him being featured the way he was in Miami.
I have something cool to tell you.
Ooh.
You can win a signed Todd Gurley or a signed Le'Veon Bell jersey. We're giving both away right now. Free to enter.
Both?
Yeah, both.
What are we, insane?
Todd Gurley or Lev Bell. You can win either.
Wow.
FootClanGiveaway.com. That's all you got to do. Go to FootClanGiveaway.com. Free to enter. It's as easy as leaving us a review, following us on Instagram. There are some different ways you can enter. All free, and you can get yourself a signed Todd Gurley jersey for the wall. We've got Mike Evans up on the wall today.
You're darn right.
All right, you guys want to talk some news?
Yes.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, the Giants have hired Mike Shula as their offensive coordinator.
Congratulations,
Schumer and Shula sitting in the tree. I don't want to. We're going to have the coaching episode, so I don't want to go in.
Oh, so
depth.
soon?
Yes, very soon. We're going to have the episode where we do go in depth on all these coaches. So I don't want to go too far in depth, but basically, my take on this is meh.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Shula looked like a great offensive coordinator when Cam Newton was amazing in 2015. And then he looked like a terrible one last year and the year before. So, yeah, I'm kind of meh as well.
Yep.
Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Eagles have no immediate plans to hire an offensive coordinator. So you would see, Doug Peterson call plays and continue to do what he does?
Likely. could still add somebody, though.
Look, if you don't hire one, people can't hire him away from you.
That's a fair point.
Tricky.
It's worked really well for Hugh Jackson.
Okay.
Very, very well.
Let's see. The Colts have hired Chargers wide receiver coach Nick Sirianni as offensive coordinator. So there you go. Mm-hmm. There's some news.
Not a lot of that. That's shooting for the up-and-comer, hoping to get someone, new hotness as opposed to a retread.
Which I like. Let's get some new blood going.
Do we want to hop on for a split second to the
Yes, we do, because it's that time of the year.
the hype train, the rumor mill?
Yes.
We'll just share some of the random spatterings of rumors that are going on.
These are hot. I
But
like
from
them.
good sources.
Yep.
So Ian Rappaport says the belief is Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas will both stay with the Broncos.
Because
That train
earlier
switched directions
yes,
very fast.
It did. Someone pulled the old hang out the window and hit the. What do you call that when the train switches?
I'm
tracks?
not up on my train vocab.
I'm going to call it the cross switch. Mm-hmm. Very technical term.
Yeah.
Because earlier, and we're talking last week, the report was, well, maybe they'll trade Sanders. They might find a way to cut somebody. They don't want to carry both of those salaries, which I think would be a mistake. So I'm glad to see.
Is this just one of those?
The train has righted itself.
Is this one of those? We're going to need the money. We'll probably cut someone. Whoa! Don't tell people we're going to cut someone. We need Kirk Cousins to sign.
That's got probably something to do with
That's
it.
what it is. A Denver Post reporter was saying that they're not going to be able to bring in a good quarterback if they cut those guys.
Yeah.
That's what this is from.
Interesting. By the way, I think about 80% of my train knowledge comes from Back to the Future Part 3.
So and very little.
So
the
trains can fly and
Yes.
go back in time.
Correct. The cross switch. All right. ESPN Vikings reporter Courtney Cronin thinks Minnesota could be very proactive this season and shop Laquan Treadwell. There's a name we haven't talked about. I know, Brooks, you own him in a dynasty league of ours, and you would love him to be traded
Yeah.
because you know he's not as good as any of the other wide receivers they have there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it's called a railroad switch.
That was right in front of you. Nothing complicated there. They were too busy in those days to give him complicated names. ESPN Bears reporter Jeff Dickerson believes that Mike Glennon won't be back.
Yep.
Shocking.
Oh, he just, we're confirming it.
How about this one? ESPN Broncos reporter Jeff Legwold believes the Broncos will release or trade C.J. Anderson this offseason. Mike, you should share what happened this morning with our dynasty
Yes.
league.
So
I almost stumbled into a great situation.
this morning I woke up to a trade offer in our dynasty league. Andy had offered me Adam Shaheen for Devontae Booker, just trying to get some running back depth. I have Gerald Everett, Evan Engram, and some other guys. So just Shaheen, while I like him, long term, I think that he could become something. Just I didn't need to make that move. I'd rather have the running back depth. And then an hour later, the report is, oh, well, they're going to cut C.J. Anderson. And we've kind of hypothesized about that. They can cut Anderson with no penalty to their cap.
Zero dead cap. Save $9 million.
And so, wow, you can hold on to Sanders and Thomas, cut C.J. Anderson, save a lot of money for your cap. That's the right move. But I digress to the Anderson possibly being cut, and then they filled that in with they want Devontae Booker to be their guy, which sounds great for my dynasty team.
Yeah,
if we can
very
get some value.
interesting.
So if you're in a dynasty league, go see if you can buy
Oh, if you're in a dynasty league,
a cheap Booker.
if you can get him cheap. But I was going to say, if you can sell Booker right now off of this hype train and get something that you deem better, I would probably do it. We saw. I think Booker has the potential, but we also saw when he was given the opportunity his rookie year, he just didn't hold up.
Devontae Booker, Kenneth Dixon, Joe Williams. How would you order those for your dynasty landscape?
I think you ordered them. That was it.
Booker,
Dixon,
Joe Williams.
I think Dixon's a better player, but that's a lot of baggage. Hasn't played football in a year.
There's a lot of running backs there now.
Yeah.
Rob Dimofsky, the ESPN Packers reporter, says that now might be the time for Green Bay to move Ty Montgomery back to wide receiver. Obviously, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams in the backfield.
Yes.
I've speculated my belief that Randall Cobb will be out the door. It's a perfect opportunity for Ty Montgomery to go back to the slot. So I can see it.
This is why in best ball leagues I really like drafting Ty Montgomery, because I feel like he will be involved. Even if
punter,
even if Jamal
place
Williams
kicker.
takes over that starting role, I think that they know Ty Montgomery is a valuable asset to the team and will be utilized in some fashion.
I'm sure we will answer more questions and talk more about this on tomorrow's JoinTheFoot.com episode, mailbag episode, where we answer listener questions. I haven't even told you what we're doing on today's show, and we're starting that segment right now. But we are doing, well, you know, I'm just going to play
the drop.
I'm just going to play the drop.
Exciting.
Trending or ending.
All right, this is about Brooks' career in the fantasy football podcast business. Is it trending or is it ending, guys? Is Brooks on the way out?
I'm going trending because he's a handsome man.
Whoa!
The judge gets a compliment.
You have never said something so nice about
I've bodied him so many times
Brooks
on this podcast.
on this show.
All right, we're doing trending or ending. We're going to look at some of the things that happened in 2017 and make a case on whether we believe they'll continue, whether it's the beginning of a trend or whether it was kind of a one-hit wonder type of season. Perfect example. The first one on our list, Alex Smith. Is he going to be a top 10 quarterback in 2018? Last year, 2017 was the QB4. He had never finished above QB 13. He has had 4 seasons in the past as a quarterback 22 or worse, but obviously a very, very impressive season. Showed that he could take advantage of the weapons that were given him, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, but now he heads to Washington, making this trending or ending all the more complicated. What do you think, guys?
I think it's
easy for me.
really.
Oh, so super easy. It's ending.
Yeah, I think that's that feels like the easy call, but at the same time, you know, all these numbers of, well, Alex Smith has been so bad, and he has two seasons over 3,500 yards, only 1 season over 4,000 yards, but those were his last 2 seasons.
I agree that it is the easy answer because I was leaning on the side, and I'll give you a chance to share your thoughts, Jay, but my initial impression was, Andy Reid not having those exact weapons. Well, Kirk Cousins put up 3 4,000-plus yard seasons under Jay Gruden, including a 4,900-yard season, 25-plus touchdowns in all 3. I believe Alex Smith is a very competent and capable quarterback, but I do think that I'd rather have him in Kansas City overall. So top 10, maybe right on the edge.
The thing is, for me, is these last 2 years you said are Alex Smith's best 2 years, and I don't think that's a coincidence.
That's a
that
trend.
It coincides with Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Those are the 2 years he had a guy that could take a little screen slant,
Or
small pass,
just burn
or
people
just
on the
burn a
9.
guy,
Yeah.
and then you could throw it deep, and he's wide open. How many? I mean, we've talked about this before on this show. How many of Tyreek Hill's touchdowns were these super long touchdowns?
30-plus yards.
Yeah, when it's that, it's pretty much like all of his touchdowns.
Right.
And when he's scoring all these touchdowns from distance, it's him doing it much more so than Alex Smith doing it. Not that Alex Smith hasn't thrown a good deep ball and hit him in stride here or there, but my point is I think Tyreek Hill made the fantasy relevance of
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith.
That's your belief. So you
more
have
than
ending.
the other way around.
Mike, you haven't weighed in with an official trending or ending here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm with you, Andy, that you're talking, he can still put
I
up.
just don't want to dismiss him because I think he's capable.
Exactly. And I'm not going to dismiss the growth of Josh Doxson. Jameson Crowder is still there. So Chris Thompson, there are still some weapons. And the fact that Kirk Cousins was able to get things done, it says to me that it's not an impossible thing for Alex Smith to maintain some fringe quarterback 1 numbers.
All right, we kind of brought him up earlier inadvertently, but Drew Brees, the fantasy drop-off that we saw from Drew Brees, he had 30-plus passing touchdowns the previous 9 years. Obviously, last year, a huge difference in the amount of rushing touchdowns in the Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara explosion that we witnessed. What do you think about Drew Brees' fantasy drop-off? Is that trending? Is that the way it's going to be from now on through the sunset of his career?
Yeah, I do think it's a trend. I mean, Drew Brees, fantasy-wise, is dead to me. I love Drew Brees.
Strong words.
His play has been fine. I mean, you watch.
It was not fine. It was great.
Well, yes. When I say fine, I'm saying
Okay.
bad for
All right.
Drew Brees, which he's a Hall of Famer. Drew Brees has been, he was still Drew Brees last year, but with the success of their running game. And with the money that they are putting in and already committing to their offensive line and the age that Drew Brees is now, this is the direction of the end of his career. I don't see them going to 2018 and saying, hey, last year, that great year we had, let's go away from our running game and get back to where Drew Brees is throwing for 5,000 yards and, over 30 touchdowns. I think they would rather be this team. I think it fits what Drew Brees is doing. This is what I'm saying. Could Drew Brees, is he still capable of having, a top 5 year? 100%. But I don't think the Saints want him to do that, and I don't think they will have him do that.
137 fewer rushing or passing attempts last year than the year before, despite he had his best completion percentage of his career.
Well, of the NFL
of all time.
Yeah.
And he had the most completions
of all careers.
Yes. He had the most completions in the NFL. He set the accuracy record. The only
also
difference,
interesting, 8.09 yards per completion, which was his highest since 2011.
Here's where it's weird. It's just he hasn't thrown for fewer than 30 touchdowns since 2007. And aside from last year, his touchdown percentage, which is generally 5 to 6, so with 5.5% 2 years ago, 5.1 3 years ago, it dipped down to 4.3. I'm not going to write Drew Brees off and say that he can't that he will not finish as a top 6 quarterback. I think that it would be. I'm not jumping on 1 year of a huge output of rushing touchdowns.
If Drew Brees was 34 years old or 35 years old, we would look at last year as anomalous to his career. He's 39. That's why I think we're looking at it and saying the natural progression for a quarterback.
Fair, but to me,
they're not losing Ingram or Kamara. Why would you change the recipe that brought you one Stephon Diggs play away from the NFC title game?
I think that the recipe, though, it was the only difference in his numbers. Yeah, the yardage was down, but the big difference for fantasy was touchdowns going from 32 to 37 to 23. So I'm not writing Drew Brees off yet. If a 5.5%.
Drew Brees or Alex Smith?
Drew Brees.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
And before we move on to some more trends or some more ends, want to thank today's sponsor. Try captaining some of the greatest warships of World War II in World of Warships, the free-to-play historical online combat game from War Gaming. Foot Clan, I know you're out there playing games. I play games. You got to check out World of Warships. Every match is a unique experience filled with endless hours of strategy. I hate when I get involved in a game and then it's just there's not enough there. There's not enough content. World of Warships, endless hours. It's the perfect balance of action and strategy. Look, we're sports fans. Those are two things we get excited about. You can download World of Warships for free today at commandwarships.com. Begin your naval adventure. Make sure you enter the code Footballers18. All caps, Footballers18. You're going to get a ton of bonus content courtesy of the Fantasy Footballers, including a free premium ship, Aurora, a pile of in-game currency. Jumpstart your epic World War II naval experience. Just download World of Warships today at commandwarships.com.
Yeah, and hey, we want to thank HelloFresh as well, great sponsor of the show. Everyone that I know lately has been getting these meal kit delivery services so that you can stop having to do the shopping and the planning. There's no more time-consuming meal planning or grocery shopping. HelloFresh makes it easy to cook these delicious balanced dinners, and for less than $10 a meal. You just choose your delivery day, and everything gets sent right to your door in recyclable, insulated packaging. You choose, you want classic? Or do you want a veggie plan? Do you want a family plan? There's something for everyone. Plus, there are lots of this is my personal favorite part from experience. There are lots of one-pot recipes for those seriously speedy cooking and minimal cleanup days. So, look, you can look forward to your HelloFresh box delivery. Have it be the highlight of your week. Just knowing dinner just got that much easier. And for $30 off your first week of HelloFresh, visit HelloFresh.com and enter the code Footballers30 for $30 off. That's HelloFresh.com, Footballers30 for $30 off right now.
All right, from fresh to stale. Let's talk about Dez Bryant. Trending or ending? Is he just a fantasy wide receiver 2 or 3 for good now? His big boy years, they seem to be behind him.
They seem to be
2015, he was the wide receiver 81. 2016, wide receiver 32. 2017, wide receiver 34. He hasn't been a wide receiver 1 since 2014.
That was a long time ago. That's what I was going to bring up. It's like
you were just a kid.
We keep. I wish. We keep waiting for Dez to kind of get back. Coming into last season,
we like the X, man. We like that big old body.
Coming into last season, I will fully admit that I was wrong on Dez because I was a believer that Dez was going to come back 100%, basically to that 2014 type of season, to his touchdown, career rate, and he didn't get it done. He's just, I don't think he is. And then as the season went on, it was easy to tell. Okay, I was wrong about Dez, not just from the stat sheet, but you just watch him. He doesn't look like the same guy. Can he still get contested catches? You put that ball right on.
Red
absolutely. I'm not saying he's a bad wide receiver, but he's not a wide receiver 1 anymore, and I don't see it changing. Do either of you?
No, I don't, and I was the first last year to kind of say I want Dez to be great, but we hadn't seen it happen with Dak Prescott yet. We hadn't seen a prolonged – I mean, it matters, right? Like, these things matter. You had the Stafford and Calvin connection for many years. You had these – the rapport, and we hadn't seen that from Dak Prescott over a whole season. Obviously, Prescott's willing and able to go elsewhere. I'm very curious whether Dez is even in a Cowboy uniform come
I
2018.
think he is.
Yeah, I think he probably is too, but they have to have a more diverse plan in terms of pass-catching options there in Dallas. That's why I thought maybe Terrell Pryor or somebody else ends up there. As far as I'm concerned, Dez Bryant probably going to go higher in any fantasy draft than I'd want to take him.
I feel like that's a virtual guarantee. Because of his name, he will be drafted in that, that second group of
So what round do you
hopeful
think?
elites.
What round are you thinking Dez Bryant will go in?
I think Dez Bryant will probably go back of the 3rd, top of the 4th.
So top of the 4th, that's too early for you to take Dez Bryant?
It might be. I mean,
let's
really will
put
depend.
Some names out there.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Having a little experiment. Dez Bryant or Jarvis Landry next. Well, that's a terrible one because we don't know where Jarvis Landry's going to play.
Yeah.
All right, Josh Gordon or Dez Bryant. Who are you going to take?
Josh Gordon.
I would firmly be in the Josh Gordon side.
I would go Josh Gordon.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs or Dez Bryant.
I would go Stephon Diggs.
I think I would take
assuming
Diggs.
that they have, one of their, if
about
Case Keenum comes back or something like that.
Demaryius Thomas. We talked about him earlier. Demaryius Thomas or Dez Bryant.
That's a really good comp.
It really is. But to me, it's 100% quarterback. So if Denver goes out and gets Kirk Cousins, it'll be Demaryius. If they are rolling with a rookie or trying to
Sammy Watkins back in L.A. with Jared Goff or Dez Bryant.
Dez Bryant.
And that's where we disagree. I'll go Sammy.
And I'll give you one last one. Allen Robinson, assuming he's back in Jacksonville, or Dez Bryant.
A-Rob.
Yeah, I think I would go Allen Robinson. I know we haven't seen the full season of Dez Bryant with Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott's rookie year, Dez Bryant missed a couple games, but his full season pace was 10 touchdowns. It was not a bad year. His wide receiver fantasy finish was 32 because he missed 3 games. So I don't think it's not out of the realm of possibility, but unless they start getting creative with Dez Bryant in that offense, then it's just going to be more of the same.
Dallas
I feel like
calling.
I need to help you, Mike, because I feel like when you look at Dez Bryant, it's kind of like you are judging your children's artwork. And they hand you the paper.
Good.
They hand you the paper, and you're going to find everything that you can appreciate from it. But at the end of the day, you're probably not going to be able to sell it. That's how I feel about Dez. I'm just trying to wean you off. I don't want you going and hanging it on the wall and trying to sell it at an art show. Because I think that would have worked in 2014, and everyone would have bought it.
Well,
You might need to let your kid go.
I mean, look, those reasons that you just brought up, that was why I believed in him last year.
Exactly.
Because I saw the year before. It was like, oh, there was a connection. But the film, to me, was what showed.
And ultimately, it's the draft cost.
and
I mean, that's
actually,
all that matters. It's not like you're not going to draft Dez Bryant. We're not saying that.
I think a big problem here, and you just mentioned it a little bit, is the play calling. I think Dallas's play calling is horrendous. I just putting it out there. Sorry, Brooks. I know you're a Dallas fan, but you can't be happy if you're a Dallas
And
fan.
I know you call plays for Dallas.
Well,
So it has to be exceptionally offensive.
you insult someone's mother, they get upset.
Yeah, or their kids
Or their
artwork.
team.
Mike's like, their drawings are beautiful.
To be fair, my son is an artiste.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure he
course he
is. Dad. Number 4 on trending or ending. I'm excited to talk about this one. I don't think we've brought his name up enough. For whatever reason, maybe it's the quarterback play, not necessarily seeing a great future for the team. I don't know what it is. But Kenyan Drake, is he going to be a top 12 running back in 2018? Look, from weeks 9 through 16 last year, he was the RB7 in fantasy. You cannot argue with that. Production. Tyreek Hill. It reminds me of Tyreek Hill. The year before,
Right.
he was on our trending or ending episode, and we saw a week 9 through 16 comp for Tyreek Hill, and he was the wide receiver 10 during that span.
We saw a running back for that team do the exact same thing 2 years ago.
For what team?
For the Dolphins.
For the Dolphins.
Oh, sure.
So when you're comping to Tyreek Hill, why would you not comp to Jay Ajayi, whose second half of the season was an MVP for fantasy purposes?
Absolutely. Now, Kenyan Drake.
I'm afraid of Kenyan Drake.
All right. That's the
next
question.
year. I think he's an excellent player. He was not given this job until they traded someone away and Damian Williams got hurt. As Jason likes to say, Damian Williams stinks.
So bad.
It took an injury to him to move Kenyan Drake up the depth chart. Now, I know that those things happen. Coaches miss, and then they fix the error of their way. Once a player produces, they go, oh, holy crap, Kenyan Drake's a pretty good running back. I think that Kenyan Drake will be overdrafted. He had the back-to-back games where he became the starter, where he had 20-plus carries, but then it dropped down. And I don't want people to get the stars in their eyes for Kenyan Drake of automatically assuming that he is going to be the primary guy. Ryan Tannehill is back, most likely, for this offense. What will they look like? Will they be any good? We talked about things to remember. You need a running back on a good team. Will the Dolphins actually be any good next year? And will he have the job? There's just so many questions for me on Kenyan Drake and that draft price. I mean, where do you think Kenyan Drake's going to go? Because I think he will go in second round.
I
third at the latest.
Well, that'll depend on whether he's handed the keys.
Right. Yeah.
But we won't know that. We know how Miami's offseason hype train works.
Everyone's great.
Everyone is the best player. Everyone's going to touch the ball 50 times a game.
Julius Thomas.
Look, I mean, you guys remember back in the 2016 draft, he was one of my favorite running backs going into the draft. I loved Kenyan Drake. I was very sad.
I got a Drake, man.
I got a Drake. Yeah, I loved him, and I was so sad that his rookie year he didn't get involved. And you're right to caution people. The fact that he was still behind Damian Williams. However, I think he was also part of why they were able to trade Jay Ajayi away. It wasn't like they traded Jay Ajayi away and went, we did that because we wanted to have terrible running backs. They did that because they thought they had a guy. It was this regime that drafted Kenyan Drake in the third round, and I think if they saw something in college that I saw to give a third-round draft pick, on hhim, then they saw the end of last year where he's great. He's fast.
He produced.
He breaks open plays that other guys can't do. It's like when you watch the Cardinals and they have David Johnson and then they give the ball to someone else, you go, oh, he'll never catch that corner. You see that out of Kenyan Drake. So I'm going to say that it is a trend, and I think it's going to stick. I think next year, I won't call him a top 12 running back next year, but his being a quality higher-end running back succeeding, I think that will continue.
He will be drafted as a top 12 running back.
I doubt it.
I think he will, and I'm going to weigh in here, and I think that he is more of a complementary piece to a multi-back backfield. That's how he – multi-back. Like New England, like Philadelphia. We're recording this show on
Valentine's Day.
On Wednesday, and so if you at the top of the show, I'm just getting word of tragedy that's taken place in Florida, another high school shooting. So I just wanted to take a quick second, since this doesn't come out till tomorrow, share our prayers, share our thoughts. Just another one of those absolutely unspeakable things. Reports that I see are multiple fatalities in another high school, and we're all shaking our head, just heartbroken over that. So thoughts and prayers to those of you out in Florida and those dealing with that tragedy. And not the exact thing I wanted to bring up in the middle of the show, but also something I wanted to speak to now, as we don't know all the details, but I didn't want it to be ignored either. From a trend, let's get back into it. Trending or ending, let's talk about Lamar Miller. I think he's a very interesting case, and I think that Lamar Miller, let's fast forward a year from now, and we're sitting here reflecting on the season. I think we're either going to be reflecting on this season with, those of you that drafted Lamar Miller got a steal, or we're going to be reflecting on, those of you that took a chance with him, he washed out of the league. He's the Ryan Matthews of yesteryear. So he was an RB1 2 years in a row, an RB2 2 years in a row now. This is his third year with the Texans. And the question that Brooks put in our doc is a good one. Will Deshaun Watson save Lamar Miller? And what are the possible outcomes for him? Jason, you were shaking your head throughout that summation there.
Yeah,
what do you
think?
Or nodding?
No, I was nodding. Yeah, I was nodding in agreement that he is – Lamar Miller will be great or irrelevant next year. I don't think there's a middle-of-the-pass situation where
I don't even know what the middle of the pass would be.
That's usually where you go through.
Yeah.
I thought it was more of a pack.
Middle of the road?
No, it's middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack?
Yeah.
All right.
You've never heard that?
Sure. I've heard of the middle of the road, too. It's where I drive. Anyways.
Should have let it go, Mike. I'm sorry.
If you knew I think that the running back for Houston next year will be great with Watson. And so Lamar Miller, to me, is a question of the health of Deonta Foreman, because Deonta Foreman started coming on at the end of last year until he unfortunately ruptured his Achilles and was out. And if he was back, if he was healthy, I wouldn't doubt that they cut Lamar Miller just because of the cap number that they could save there and move on, draft another running back. I think because of Deonta Foreman's injury, they're going to have to keep Lamar Miller, and he was great with Watson. In those games, the first part of the year. I have the
numbers, Jason, because I thought that too. Because on film, Lamar Miller looked better.
Give me those numbers. I'm really looking forward to what
the 5 games in Watson.
How many games did Watson play? He started the second half of the first.
This is the Watson Flame games. This is when, after his primetime game where he saved everything with that really long run, but the game was terrible overall. And then he went Human Torch, said flame on, and just incinerated everyone.
And what week did he get injured?
He played 5 games. His last game was the one against Seattle. But in those games, Lamar Miller had 17 carries for 60 yards and 3 receptions for 27 yards. Now, he had 2 rushing touchdowns in that time, but those rushing numbers, that's 3.57 a carry. The final 9 games that Lamar Miller played, he was at 3.88 yards per carry. Now, and then you have the final 3 games where they just stopped using him. His snap rate went down to 38.2, and Alfred Blue, who's not even under contract with the team this year, so they didn't say, well, we're going to take an eval here and see what we got for Alfred Blue moving next year. They took a guy who's not going to be on the team.
They're saving Lamar's legs,
They took a guy who will not be on the team next year.
They're saying, hey, we're out of it. Let's go ahead and rest you for next year since you're so good, Lamar.
So I have my Lamar Miller concerns.
You paint you paint with a scary brush, Mike.
I apologize.
No, that's good.
I hope that Deonta Foreman gets healthy, because I'm with you.
I love Deonta Foreman.
If Deonta Foreman could be healthy with Deshaun Watson,
very interesting.
Very interesting.
Last year on the Trending or Ending show, I just wanted to look back a little bit. We talked about whether DeMarco Murray and the resurgence would continue. He was the RB5 in 2016. That ended. We had rookie sensations, Jordan Howard, Michael Thomas, Dak Prescott. We saw the ups and downs of those trends, those hot hype trains.
I do want to qualify. The numbers I gave, those were what he averaged per game. Because when I said he had 17 carries for 50 or whatever the yardage
I
was.
assumed it was
Yes.
not over the course of 5 games.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that.
Because what I remembered is I think through the first 5 weeks of the season, Lamar Miller was the running back 11 and half point.
Yeah, he was still all right. He had a couple touchdowns, which really helped his fantasy value in that time. Just wasn't as good as we remember.
We talked about Cam Newton. He had declined in fantasy rank down to QB 19. That trend ended. He became a relevant fantasy quarterback again. Jeremy Hill had been trending down, and he went as far down as he could go this year. LeGarrette Blount, we wanted to know if his production would continue. He surprised everybody. He looked like he flamed out in Philly, and then he became very relevant. We talked about Kyle Rudolph and that big season that he had. He was the tight end 2 in 2016. I think we saw the impact of having healthier Diggs, Adam Thielen in there. And then Jordy Nelson was wide receiver 1.
Yeah, in 2016.
Man.
And Jordy Nelson
Wide range of outcomes for him this year.
He was on his way. Well, Aaron Rodgers was healthy at the beginning of the year.
All right. I think we should jump into the mailbag, answer some questions from the Foot Clan. What do you think?
Okay.
Mailbag.
Oh, your first fail on the mailbag drop.
Oh, fail bag.
Ever. Fail bag.
Oh, he was laughing too hard.
He had tickled himself.
He didn't know
No,
why
it
he
was-
said, okay.
It was the fact that Andy laughed at it. So I was laughing at how terrible it was that someone was laughing
I feel like
at
you were agreeing to do the mailbag while hitting the top of a roller coaster on the way down.
This
That's
is
what
why
it reminded me of.
This is why the premium way to get the footballers is visual. You got to watch the laughter
that was
going on
great.
here.
That's true. You should subscribe on YouTube and click the little bell. And I know that because all the other YouTube people I follow tell me to click the bell. So I
Hey.
know it's important for you to do.
You can ring my bell.
Well, and we're moving on. All right. If you have a question for the show, you can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. You can click the Submit a Question button. It's in the menu. You can also dial our voicemail hotline. We'd love to hear from you. 302-464-TFFB. And let's start out with a question from JJ in Houston. Standard scoring keeper league question. He wants you to pick 2. Very simple. Or is it? Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Antonio Brown. Pick 2. Standard scoring.
Antonio Brown's a lock.
I picked 3.
It's the age-old question of this season: Kareem Hunt or Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
It's
the
the age-old question from the upcoming season.
Yeah, because we've already answered this
It's so
question.
aged and old.
Because I've
and
already
it's
answered
from
it
the future.
50 times.
yeah, and
The
I
answer for me is Alvin Kamara. You've said Kareem Hunt, so Jason, weigh in on who you'd take alongside Antonio Brown.
because it's a standard scoring league here for this gentleman JJ, I'm going Kareem Hunt.
Okay.
Would it change a PPR?
Yeah, I mean, in a full point PPR, I think you're going to get enough receptions out of Alvin Kamara to where he would be more valuable on the reg. You don't have to worry about touchdowns. I realize
30.
that.
Let's see.
I just realized something. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to promise it to the peoples right now.
This is
I'm-
very
I'm
early
gonna-
for promises.
I'm going to release an article on our website in the next couple of weeks.
Never going to happen, people.
Coming July 15th.
And it's going to make my case for why I believe Alvin Kamara is a top 3 back for next year.
I'm very excited to read
And
it.
I will be the first to say when we started the narrative of Alvin Kamara and the numbers and the unsustainability of some of the yards per touch, all that stuff, I was the first one to say, hey, look, he's going to be overdrafted. And I've really changed on it, and I'm going to get into the details of why that is.
Sweet.
And,
I look forward to reading that.
And
September 22nd.
The gist, did you just write down September 22nd when you plan to check the
Andy's case
website?
for Alvin Kamara.
I'm making the case for Alvin Kamara.
21st.
And the gist, so that you don't think I'm full of hot air right now, the gist is a compensation in workload for the efficiency numbers. I think you're going to see his workload rise, the efficiency come down a little bit just because it's hard to sustain it, but not a lot. And so that's my case. All right, question from Eva in California. I just joined a standard format league. Or I'm sorry, I joined one last year because it was my first year playing and I want to join a PPR one in 2018. Are there any specific podcast episodes in the past that I could watch to help figure things out? So basically, she wants to know, how do you adjust for half and full? And is there any specific episode? Did you have one in mind, Brooks, when you put this in here?
No.
I mean, honestly, I don't think you need an entire podcast for it.
Certainly not.
Because we talk about it enough moving forward.
We also rank
through the offseason.
that way.
Yeah, on the website when we release rankings, and in the UDK, we break down receptions, and you can see just who gets a bump in value. And honestly, the biggest thing to take away is that wide receivers, their value goes up,
And pass
catching running backs. I mean, it really is as easy as that. So don't stress
overdo
out,
it.
Eva,
And also, Eva, if I may make a recommendation here, it seems like you started out in standard and you realized the foolish ways, and so you swung that pendulum, but you've gone too far. You've gone to the full PPR. You got to come right back into
never go full PPR
into the middle of the pavement.
I prefer full
as they
PPR.
say.
Get Brooks.
Brooks, you prefer full PPR?
Yes, sir.
You're fired.
Brooks, I believe early in this episode I called you handsome. You are hideous.
Yeah.
Hideous.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm okay with all three of those formats.
Yeah, I love all
That's why we
formats.
rank for them. But we do like the middle of the pack, or as Jason would say, the middle of the pass.
Yes, the middle of the pathway. I just want a different thing every time.
Sure. All right. Here's a question. It was titled Gronk Gronk. It's from Brent in Bay
Gronk.
City, Missouri. So with the news that Rob Gronkowski is considering retirement, what free agent tight end would you love to see to go to New England for fantasy purposes? Maybe a Burton, a Graham, or an Eifert. Thanks, guys.
Any of those three?
Yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah,
Trey Burton.
Trey Boo Boo.
Oh,
Trey Boo Boo.
Yeah.
no. That's not a thing.
Andy, is that a thing?
I think it might be.
It's not no.
Trey Burton?
No, you got Tim Burton. You could make so many great things
Why
with
would I
Trey
want to make
Burton.
a Tim Burton reference? What is this,
Because his
80,
name is
88?
Trey Burton.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we're gonna hold off.
I-
hope
I
here.
Jason's sitting here wanting to go Edward Burton
I
hands.
just don't want Trey Boo Boo to be his nickname.
You're
All right,
ta-
fine.
You're taking a stand. Wait a second.
T-boo-boo.
Judge is not.
The judge is
I think he
leaving.
was
He's
trying to
walking
sneak
the
out of here, but I wanted
He
an
did.
official ruling on Trey Boo Boo.
He's-
But he just left.
All
right.
That's how bad it
Is
was.
he done?
Trey Boo Boo or T Boo Boo?
Oh my gosh.
Pick which terrible name you want.
Tim T Boo Boo.
Tim T Boo Boo? No. All right. Trey Burton.
Trey
sure.
Burton is a
He's got the highest
really-
long-term upside.
Yeah, he's a
Graham
very
is
good.
Graham is washed. Graham can catch touchdowns.
Eifert
Fine.
is washed too, probably.
Eifert's just can he play?
He's just,
can
yeah,
he even
his
be
body
out there?
betrays him.
You know, but
You replace Gronk.
we're
with
not even
another,
talking about Jordan Reed. And I'm not saying as a trade in here, but we don't even talk about him right now because he is falling into that category of Eifert now where you just kind of, man.
He's not. He invented that category.
He did.
Jordan Reed is offended that you called it Eifert's category.
He's like, hey, if there's one thing I'm
I
good
was
at.
here first.
Yeah.
My name's on the building.
Yeah.
Somewhere Jermichael Finley's like, hey, guys, where's my credit?
Stay healthy.
Austin has a question. He says, in what direction do we go on Devontae Freeman? Dare I say trending or ending? Drafted as a high RB1 this past year and let many owners down with the new offensive coordinator. You've got Tevin Coleman in the background and in the backfield.
Buy the dip.
Inconsistent offense. You're buying the dip.
I'm buying the dip 100%.
Yeah, give
the
me that.
stock tip is buy the dip.
But give me that Devontae Freeman at the discount price, please.
I love it. I can't wait to draft Devonta Freeman lower than he should go.
Look,
Yeah,
I love D Boo Boo this year.
D Fufu.
I'm gonna leave.
Brooks.
Frou Frou.
Brooks, did you leave the office due to Mike's nickname?
No, it was due to Mike's earlier comment.
There was the hideous one,
I needed to physically literally look in the mirror.
and say I'm a handsome man.
You needed to reflect.
You're good
Yes.
enough. You're smart enough. Doggone it, people like you.
As long as you play half point. All right, Sam said it's early, but do you still value David Johnson?
Sorry,
That's what I was waiting
I thought
for.
you were.
I don't know why I thought that just stopping my sentence would equate to you saying David Johnson. But do you still value him as high as a top 2 pick?
I
don't think so.
I have to hold judgment until I see what the
Well,
quarterback.
who would you take
situation-
over him?
Todd Gurley,
And Lev Bell.
Lev Bell for sure.
Yeah.
Probably Zeke.
I would take him over Zeke.
You would?
Yeah, he's an 80-plus pass catching option.
Hopefully. I mean, that's the thing is the quarterback change.
Zeke
does
missed
affect
6 games and was a top 10 running back.
Yeah, I know. David Johnson put up more points than Todd Gurley did last year, 2 years ago.
Right, but on the back of touchdowns.
Yes.
So will Arizona even be in the position for David Johnson to score that many touchdowns?
I think he will.
If you took David Johnson,
I can't argue taking Lev Bell. I mean, Bill and Gurley, I understand taking over David Johnson.
If you took David Johnson at the second pick, David Johnson is good enough to justify that pick. It's not a crazy pick, but he won't be in my top 2 in my rankings.
He had 20 touchdowns that year.
Yeah.
He's not getting 16 rushing touchdowns.
How many receptions did he have?
80.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not saying he's safe. He is safe for volume.
Safe for top 5?
Oh, yeah. I think he's definitely
Here's what happened last year.
Probably,
Last year, we worried a lot about Todd Gurley because we said,
right,
the touchdown problem.
Yes.
Right? And we've also talked about, Mike, you brought it up on the show earlier. We were talking about the fluctuation of touchdowns and how that makes one player feel great and another player feel bad. They don't have a pass catcher outside of Larry Fitzgerald right now. They don't have another option in the backfield. And they have said they'll be aggressive with the quarterback, whether that's Keenum, whether that's Bridgewater, Bradford, Cousins, whatever that might be. I think you're right to reserve some of that judgment and ranking for the quarterback that comes into play. But this is a good defense, and if they're going to win this year, it's going to be on the back of David Johnson.
Oh, I agree.
It's just a matter of you're saying, will they be able to win?
16 rushing touchdowns. That's a lot.
That's a lot. All right. Hey, a reminder, head over to thefantasyfootballers.com if you want to check out recent articles, the Ultimate Draft Kit, learn more about our community. We're always trying to make things better. If you don't know us, if you're brand new this offseason, checking out the show.
Welcome in.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy you're here. We're happy you've joined us. I won't hit the Valentine's Day song.
Oh,
we're past that time.
Fine.
But look, we're a year-round fantasy football podcast. We try to bring you the most accurate, informative, entertaining news, notes, information, and strategy for your fantasy football league, not only as a player but as a commissioner, as somebody that's organizing leagues, playing in leagues, trying to make things more enjoyable, more fun, and that's what we do. That's what we've been doing over the last 3 years, and we appreciate you stopping by, subscribing, listening, reviewing, all of those things. Make sure you check out draft.com/ballers as we close out if you want to get into some best ball. It's a really fun thing to do in the offseason. It also keeps you apprised of where players are.
The best.
Goodbye. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.